Are you the most important person in the startup ecosystem?
No, that'll be my boss, but yeah.
Product, distribution, meta really leads to building a large consumer brand in India.
Advertising, the best way to kill a brand if the product's not a good one.
Bad product and good marketing doesn't solve the problem.
Product being great is a given, right? I mean, there is no compromise there.
But a lot of people have good product. I think good product is now table stakes. 0 to 200 crores in 12 months. Unbelievable journey. It's not one thing. It was like 5 cylinders firing at the same time.
I rather choose speed over perfection.
50 stores in a year is beast level execution.
High spend on marketing, lower spend on brand building. How would you both look at it?
He said marketing is sales at scale. Full stop.
We've done multiple celebrity endorsements and no offense to them, but I feel the reach is so much higher even with the nano influencer. I was spending about 3 to 4 lakhs a month on SEO. So I'm getting actually a 30x, 40x ROAS.
Do founders then understand new age marketing?
The founder started doing content and it started working. Then she started doing ads. And then she was like, okay, but like I can't be in every single ad for this company because I don't have the time and the bandwidth. And when the team did the ad, the efficiency was 20% or 25%.
You became so central to the brand, you need to continue being part of it.
Founders being out there, that's been the biggest change that we've seen in marketing in the last decade.
Experiment and measure is my takeaway.
What jumps off the table for you?
I would say not all founders are the same.
I feel everybody's chasing instant gratification.
Ultimately, it's about the gut. Hi and welcome back to another edition of Startup Table with AJ. AJ being me, Archana Jahagirdar. And we are at the Rukam Capital office, just in a different part of Rukam Capital. And the reason we're doing it in a different location today is because we have a special edition of Startup Table with AJ, because I've got some great people on this table today. I've got GauravJeet Singh, Arjun Vaidya, and I've got Sidhant Keshwani. So guys, quick intro and why we all here.
Start with me. Okay. GauravJeet, I lead the agency and the VC partnerships at Meta. Fantastic to be here.
Are you the most important person in the startup ecosystem?
No, that'll be my boss, but yeah.
Well played.
My name's Arjun Vaidya. I'm the founder of Dr. Vaidya's. I took that company to exit and now run a venture capital fund investing in consumer brands called V3. But most importantly, it's a big day for me because I've been waiting to be invited by Archana. A big fan of Archana and honored to be here and planned so much for this conversation that I spoke to the team before and found out what Archana was wearing and I've matched her outfit. So very exciting day for me.
You know, when all these good things, you'll get all the easy questions. Arjun, well played also.
So yeah, I'm Sidhant Keshwani, founder of Libas. Libas is India's first Indian wear fast fashion brand and started with e-com, now scaling omnichannel, opened 50 stores in the last 1 year and yeah.
So now I'm sure, dear viewers, you understand why this is a special edition, and I'm going to get right into it because we really want to hear what they have to say. I think a lot of the consumer brands will probably struggle if Meta wasn't Meta. What really leads to building a large consumer brand in India? Product, distribution, Meta?
No, what any classical marketer is taught on is that, listen, all the 6 P's, for example, product, price, promotion, have a role to play to a certain extent. Increasingly and if your question is about new brands and let's say startup brands, I would say product still is the king. At the end of the day, the experience of the product is what decides the second purchase. The first purchase is not what builds brands. And in today's world, choices for new brands have become very simple, especially in terms of media reach. And it's very contrary to what most people say. In the initial part of a brand's journey, I would say Meta is designed to build small businesses because small business will not put in that next dollar till the return of the first dollar comes in. And hence, the way the whole infrastructure has been built is built around building small businesses. So I would say a product remains the king, and then you need to get people to know about it. Meta is the place for you to do.
So storytelling on Meta.
See, I would say now storytelling can get into multiple angles, but I would say pure play reach based on getting product attributes out there for a new brand That's the starting point. I won't kill myself with storytelling very early in a brand's life, other than, of course, what a brand might stand for. But a lot of brands, and there's a very interesting paper by Kantar called Three Things That Matter, and it's also a principle-based growth. And essentially what it says is that salience and meaningful, these are two biggest drivers of brand growth. And salience is built by getting people to know that you exist. Your story will follow, of
So,
course.
do you think Indian startups really can only work on product, or you think is really you're saying product is the hero in the first the 0 to 1 journey?
It all starts with product, Archana. I think if your product's not right, you can't just go advertising. The best way to kill a brand if the product's not a good one. That's
You
fast.
get out the bad news out first. Did
Absolutely.
both of you? Is that what you guys did?
Look, I think I agree with him that bad product and good marketing doesn't solve the problem. But from the people that I've met, and I meet a lot of consumer brand founders, I think good product is now table stakes. But a lot of people have good product, right? So what builds a large consumer brand in India is a combination of all of these things. And I'll explain with an example. Firstly, I think we're in a very exciting time, before I explain the example, where given the digital pipes that are available, given the warehousing infrastructure that's available, building a brand has now become a democratic proposition, right? If you looked at the world before 2015, it was very intimidating and almost impossible to build a pan-India brand. Like when I started in 2016, I started with offline distribution, and I had 22 sales reps trying to sell my product into chemist stores in Bombay, and that cost me 4 lakh rupees a month. If I want to multiply that by 10 cities, that cost would be 40 lakhs a month. So that development of distribution infrastructure was very complicated. D2C allowed me to reach 2 million customers across 16,500 pin codes with just one warehouse, right? But the world is different from the first wave of D2C brands. And so what works? We recently made an investment in a company called SuperU. It's a healthy or a healthier protein snacking company. And the founder is a school friend of mine. They had a journey
Which one? Which founder is of school? Why didn't you say that?
not the Bollywood actor, the other guy, Nikunj. So Nikunj is a school friend of mine. So we are making the investment, and of course we did our due diligence. We saw everything was fine. But just before we made the investment, I asked her, I'm like, look, man, 0 to 200 crores in 12 months, unbelievable journey. But like, hand on heart, tell me what worked, right? And I was like, be honest with me. Now I'm making the investment. I can't back out of here. So he said, it's not one thing, right? Some people say, hey, Ranveer Singh worked. Some other people say, hey, the protein wave worked. Some other people say the product worked. He said, no, everything came together. It was like 5 cylinders firing at the same time. So Ranveer Singh worked, the protein wave worked, the product resonated with consumers in terms of taste,
Pricing.
and the pricing resonated, and the brand resonated, and they got distribution at the right time. And all of these things working together led to a 0 to 200 crore journey in a year. Will every brand have that outcome? Most likely not. But when all of these things fires, what leads to the creation of a large consumer brand? So going back to what Gaurav said, I think product is great, but a lot of companies have good product. That's the table stakes. It's the good enough CV to get you the interview. Once you're in the interview, you have to prove yourself to get the job.
Fair point.
I think a very similar thought process, to be honest, because I think last decade or so, everything, like all the founders used to say that if the product is great, product is king, everything will work, right? But in today's competitive scenario, it's actually not that true, because product being great is a given, right? I mean, there is no compromise there. I mean, that's not even a question. That's not even optional. But yes, just building a brand on that, it's not gonna. You have to be a great marketeer yourself. You have to be a great, like, if you have to crack distribution as well. And I think if you crack these 3 things or 4 things, right, especially distribution, marketing, no matter what product you come up with, you're going to be able to make it successful. And especially in our case, like fast fashion, every day there's a new product. So, I mean, product has to be great. There's no question about it. So,
Can I ask a question to you specifically about fashion? Like, as VCs,
This is when you have a creator on your podcast. He takes over. Of course,
No,
Arjun, feel free. It's
one
only your
question.
podcast, not of its fame.
One question. Like, there's so many brands out there in fashion. It's easy to get a fashion product out there. How does a customer differentiate between brands, especially in your space of Indian ethnic wear?
See, I think how we did it was, we, of course, when we started out, we were fashion first, but soon we realized that being just fashion first is not going to be good enough, right? I think it's speed of execution that we are great at. I think we are fastest at whatever we do. I think today, like everybody, when you talk to our team, they will talk speed first and then everything else. We feel like whether it's marketing, whether it's product, whether it's launching new trends, that's how we differentiate. Like today, you see, say, Alia Bhatt's reel going viral wearing something, right? I can guarantee that Libas will be one of the first brands in the country to do something similar because people are going to be searching for it. And that's why that trust gets built that, in any new trend, Libas has to be the first brand to go to.
But Arjun, I feel that today building a product actually is relatively easy. It's distribution, it's getting to the consumer, creating that trust. I think that's really where a lot of and building your own team is where I think the challenge
No,
is.
maybe I should step back and say repeat the question. The question was: is it product? Is it storytelling? Or is it
Distribution.
distribution? Now that's the syllabus. You pick out one of the three, which is the best, right? So
No, you can be out of the syllabus also.
no. Let me go outside the syllabus and just get the proposition right. Now, I feel today, especially CPG and FMCG new brands, there's a very narrow description of what a product is. So you believe that you can go to a mass third-party manufacturer and you get a product right. But product is a lot more today. What's the experience of a product when somebody lands on your Shopify page? How clean is it? How clear is it on its proposition? What's the range that you're selling? All those are choices in the product. The narrow descriptor of yesteryears, where you could make a product and put it in a shelf in a supermarket, is not a definition of product any longer. How does that product experience really translate into what the influencer is talking about that product? Which proposition of the 10 things that your product could do? Trifila, for example, could be good for sleeping, could be good for something else, and blah blah and blah. What do you really take as a proposition is part of that product. Now, does that come clearly for one brand versus others? They're very interesting, fascinating. I think you should go back and, um, uh, you know, I believe that in media, a lot of things have already been said. Now we're trying to regurgitate that over the years. I'm being provocative, Archana, to your brief.
Please.
Yeah.
Please.
So let's say the very interesting Baron Sharp interview on Australia Network with somebody who was the head of strategy of publicity at that time. We have people in publicity in the room, but interestingly, he asked the question that if marketing was so simple that you build, mental awareness or mental availability and physical availability, that's what it boils down to. These two things done well grows the brand. I said, why don't all the guys do just that? And he said, it's a very stupid question. That's what this Byron Sharp told him. And this guy was taken aback, head of strategy global, and this is like really rude. And you can expect a stupid question from me, is what he said. And then when asked, he said, listen, medical science there's a heart procedure which is known that if you want to go get a coronary block done, there's a scientific way to go and do it. The percentage of hospitals that are more effective in solving for it uh, as a percentage are a lot more in some cases versus others. The procedure is common. So Arjun's point, I totally agree with that. It all needs to come together, and to your point, that execution is critical. But to bring it together is the magic. To bring it together, you need discipline, you need execution discipline. You need to say which of those levers is the most important one. Yes, everything fired, but if on speed is 90% of what works for Libas, that becomes single biggest lever to drive. But that doesn't mean that you can't do it with a shoddy product or a shoddy website or a poor distribution experience or a poor return experience. So product in today's world needs a lot more clearer definition and understanding. And it becomes very difficult when you try to block it as this physical thing, and that's changed dramatically from the past. Because previously that competitor was that description was only on a store shelf. That's changed.
So, if I were to encapsulate this, I think it's really about who the founder is, because all of this sort of resides with the founder, ultimately. Because if it's the founder who's changing the levers, putting something in high gear, stepping back on something, because you also have to allocate your sort of capital according to that. So, I have another question, which I think is an important question, especially for consumer brands today. I think there's a high spend on marketing, um, and I think there's a lower spend on brand building today. How would you both look at it? You're still running a brand, you've done it, and of course, how do you see it? So I'm going to start with you, Sidhant.
See, I think what like the mistake that most new age brands make is that they want instant gratification, right? कि मैंने अब 100 रुपए लगाया, I need 300 revenue. So yeah, I mean, no offense to anybody, but I think that should be a major part of the business. I agree. But I think what's getting lost in the clutter is that top of the mind recall that we used to see from legacy brands back in the day, right? How Amul is an Amul today is because of the hoardings and the top of the mind recall that they've created, those nudges, that certain, that small little girl, etc. Those small elements are missing in today's brands, is what I feel. And as people are growing, I know there's a lot of competition now. Like every category, there are like 100 brands to compete with. So you want that instant. ROAS is the language that people talk in now. But I think we changed that really long back. I think what we did 2-3 years back, when we realized that performance marketing is going to get tougher and tougher, we create different buckets and we started investing in those which we realize is going to give us returns, like 3 years later, 4 years later. Like giving you an example of an SEO. Like I was spending about 3 to 4 lakhs a month on SEO when my monthly revenue was just 30-35 CR. That's almost like 10% of my revenue going just on SEO.
Yeah, 35.
Sorry, 30 lakhs. Sorry, I meant 30 lakhs. Sorry,
know.
my bad. I meant 30 lakhs. So fast forward to now, I'm still spending 3 to 4 lakh rupees and I'm doing 25 CR of revenue today per month. And out of that, 10 to 15% of my revenue just purely comes from SEO. And it doesn't get built overnight. It takes 2.5, 3 years to understand, crack that model. And now if you look at the ROAS, that 3 lakhs, I'm getting actually a 30x, 40x ROAS on my spend on SEO. Similarly, like a lot of, even like when we talk to Meta teams, when we talk to Google teams, we're really splitting our spends. We are saying that uh, like 60% of the money should give us that instant gratification, but 40-50% is something that should create top of the mind recall, which will last like a longer period. Maybe that person will come in shop later, but at least that top of the mind recall will be there. That's how
So
we're
pull,
kind of
pull, pull, basically.
exactly.
How do you create pull in the brand versus push?
See, I think it's it's natural for an early stage founder to put money in the performance marketing bucket because the other bucket is actually a big well in which you can throw money in and never see returns as well, right?
That's a very
But I completely agree with Sid that you have to do that because the problem or the good and bad part about performance marketing, the good part is you see results instantly and data is available. The bad part is everybody has it. Everybody has access to that thing, and so everybody can do the same thing. And so performance marketing efficacy in today's marketplace, which is sort of completely free competition, anybody can come in, people know how to build websites, start brands, the pipes are in place, plug and play, etc., has to be coupled with brand. The misconception about brand is expensive, right? Which is, oh, you got to get a celebrity, you got to get an expensive influencer, you got to do expensive video shoot, etc., all of that. As the customer has evolved and as content has evolved, you can literally shoot content on your phone and get views and get traction and get visibility, right? The most interesting, and by the way, a brand that's selling to someone will always get less traction than a person who's selling to someone. If you see an individual's page, the founder's page, a lot of times has more followers than the brand's page. So what have brands done recently that I found very interesting? If you go on Instagram, you can see a page called Clearly Tripping. It's a page of a female travel influencer. I think it's a female travel influencer who's talking about travel, itineraries, etc., all of that, right? And it's got like 500K, 700K followers. And people who like travel are following that page. What you don't know is that page is owned by ClearTrip, and 1 in 5 or 1 in 7 posts are brand promotions of ClearTrip.
wow.
But you feel like you're following a person who's giving you travel itineraries, right? So I think the point I'm trying to make is that you can invest in brand. It doesn't only mean a large celebrity or a large influencer like Archana to work with, etc., all of that. No, I'm kidding. But one day very soon, Archana will be endorsing brands. Now
it's exactly like what I'm saying, right? There's a property that they build, say, over 1 or 2 years, and now they're monetizing it so subtly.
But the good news is that if you do it right, see, I think SEO was something that that took longer, like it took you a couple of years to see the results. Here, the good part is if you're doing it with content, maybe your 4th video or 10th video could hit 100K views. So you have
I think today is the
data point.
content. Yeah, like we've done multiple celebrity endorsements, and no offense to them, but today, you know, like I feel the reach is so much higher even with the nano influencer who probably has just 5K or 10K followers. If the content is good, I mean, it can reach way more people than what a celebrity.
That's the story of that movie Sayara, right? So
Yeah.
that's the way the movie went viral. They used thousands of micro-influencers because it seemed like somebody you knew or kind of knew talking about it as compared to someone who's been paid to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. So the organic mention is the most powerful marketing, right? And it creates the best top of the mind recall.
So I have a follow-up question. I'm going to get your response to this, but I really think, which is why I think this founder-led content is so powerful today. Like so many of our, comment.
Yeah.
We'll learn it from Arjun, but yeah.
I mean, so yeah.
I think you
Brand
know,
building.
yeah. So actually it's the digital marketers that have done this service to digital marketing over the years to really call it performance marketing and brand marketing.
I think that's a headline.
Yeah, that's a fact, and we are all guilty of having that journey. To Sidhant's point, I've been in boardrooms with very large brands, 60%, 70% penetration in the country. I have planned media for them for many years, and all of them look at these new brands and say, "What fantastic job these brands are doing." Why can't we do the same thing? So ultimately, when you look at stretch a line enough, right, everything regresses to normal. And the reality is that principles hold out for that. So what do I mean by that? Now, on level one, when you're a small brand, your singular job is, let's say, product, like everybody says, is table stakes, which, by the way, it is not. If you look at the experience of bottle, whether your bottle leaking, whether it is in some very large brands, try a body wash, try to get that
Last bit out.
last bit, not even the first bit out, and the second bit out and third bit out. Get that perfume where the first time you open it, the knob comes off. That product might on paper be the same as any other. And I've sold maybe the largest deodorants in the country for many years. The single biggest problem we had is that retailers essentially returning bottles because the nozzle will come off. It was manufactured in Australia. It took like 6 months to land in India. It was a long supply chain. Long story short, I'm assuming that the product is table stakes. I'll challenge that really. But the second piece on that is marketing the way we described it as, listen, there's a series of stuff that you do get performance marketing, then
Brand.
do a top funnel. The reality is that what is performance marketing really doing? It's really going after people who are in the market. If you have less money, imagine you're selling something that you have only 100 rupees to sell to. I tell you, listen, here's 100 rupees. Please use this to sell for 1,000 rupees worth. Would you go put that on TV? Of course not. You say, listen, I can go out in the corner, try to sell these whatever I'm selling, and 100 rupees is what I have. I'll give a discount and whatever I might do. That somebody else might brand as performance marketing. What it really is doing is to getting maximum bang for buck in a short while. Very interesting definition I heard from somebody from the Hearst Corporation, New York, one of the meetings, all marketers in the room. He said something very fascinating. And he defined marketing for me that clarified marketing forever. And he said marketing is sales at scale.
Oh, nice.
Full stop. That just is very simple. You have to get more scale, and we tie our knickers into knots unnecessarily describing it as, okay, this is upper funnel, down funnel. Even our campaigns now are unifying campaigns across the funnel. You put in a campaign for outcomes that could be for upper funnel build as well as for conversion, and it optimizes for objective or certain volume sales. Now, that is there because nobody goes to the market saying that I'm only going to buy today. Interestingly, again, I sold a lot of cosmetics in my life. I didn't know getting into category as an impulse category. Most women would say, of course it is, what's wrong with you? But for most men, it's surprising. Oh, you buy a 600, 900 rupee lipstick because you just felt like it. Yes, I'm talking about year 2008, 9, when 900 rupees lipstick was like a big deal, and people do. So the point is that you need to be aware of it. Performance marketing for a small brand is an easy way to get people in market, get them to convert, whether it is by trying to mine intent or by creating discovery. As you get bigger and you want scale, you need to spread that awareness structurally. Creators are a good way to do it. One such creator who comes for free is a founder. Does he have the most amount of reliability on the brand? 100%. If I go and say that, listen, I buy it, I did this because there's a backstory. And by the way, every single new brand's backstory is, Me and my wife were on a trip to XYZ, or for we had XYZ life moment, and we didn't have a product that really worked, and hence we had to discover it. Now, if 10 brands say that, or 10 founders say that, how believable is that story? You know, first guy who said it, second guy who said it, third guy who said it, after it becomes table stakes. So that proposition is table stakes then. So how do you become reliable? How do you get free in a celebrity through a founder? And some very famous founders who have become very famous beyond their own product, which is very powerful brand endorser to have.
Is it good though?
There's nothing wrong in it.
No, in the sense that like, I mean, I'm invested in a company that's an early stage company, and the founder started doing content and it started working. Then she started doing ads. It started working, and then she was like, okay, but like I can't be in every single ad for this company because I don't have the time and the bandwidth. So I tried to, I was spending 10 hours, 15 hours a week doing content. And then she said, okay, let me try to get my team to do it as well. And when the team did the ad, the efficiency was 20% or 25%. Now the founder is saying, I'm a founder of this company. I'm a solo founder of this company. I've got 20 other things to do to run this business, but my business needs me to do 20 hours of shoot a week. What do I do?
Perfect. That answers my whole piece. It's lays to rest. The reality is, Arjun, that the brand essentially was also that founder. You take that out of the mix, that brand is not what it stood for. Now, is it
But at
right?
the beginning of the
So I finished.
So at the beginning of the journey,
Of course, it
Fasmet took a conscious decision to do it
Of
because it helped at that time. But then the brand has to graduate at some point to become a very large.
Exactly, which goes to the point that marketing is sales at scale. So if you're planning for scale at some stage, KFC is Colonel Sanders on that photograph, for heaven's sake. You know, so that's how you take the founder on to as
but
distinct
then-
asset and use it.
No, but Gaurav, see, then if you're saying it's sale at scale, then actually a founder's core job is revenue and sales.
Yes, it is.
So then they should be doing more of it.
Maybe I didn't explain it well. So Arjun's question is really a nice one. The choice early part of a brand's life is that, listen, as a founder, should I be the face of the brand? My answer to that is,
That's the question anymore, Gaurav. Actually, I think more founders are discovering that they are the most effective early stage phase because they're able to communicate. So to go beyond that very, plain vanilla, slightly trite story that is out there now, oh, this happened to me. So I think now founders are far more expressive. They are learning the art of communication, whether it's forced upon them sometimes, and to some it comes naturally. But that is the most cost effective because how many micro influencers.
22nd, I said that.
Huh.
So you're getting a free influencer on a brand because it's a founder. Perfect thing to use. Arjun's point goes a point further. What he's saying is that what happens when
At
I have to
scale.
spend so many hours on doing it? The answer to that is that's become now a distinctive part of the brand. That face is part of the brand. Integrated into the brand in some fashion. That's where I give the example of KFC. There might be another intelligent way to do it. There could be a way to really get the person's face on the brand. It could be a signage that comes before. It could be a distinctive logo on the top. It could be multiple things. But what he's saying is that when somebody else does it, efficiency drops by 25%, which means that what you built as a brand is not getting carried into the next ad. Which means that you became so central to the brand that you need to continue being part of it. Now find a way to get it integrated.
But it's a real problem, huh? Because
What do you think?
But I don't think you have to spend like 20 hours a day, right? I mean, there can be a clear line,
As week.
like 20 hours a week also. Like, for example, like when we get a celebrity, we technically do like 1 or 2 days of shoot in a year and we use that content almost, while of course, founders are spending much more time, but I think there can be a clear timeline that 2 hours, 3 hours a week and continue to be the face.
I think the problem is not the timeline. With a celebrity, you have limited hours, but they also have that reach that you can solve it in limited hours, and that's the constraint you have. With the founder, there's no constraint, right?
Yeah.
So the team is saying, hey, actually, if you can do 20 ads this week or 40 ads,
But Arjun, that is the immaturity of the team also. See, what happens is, and I think it's also when you're in that creator journey in the beginning, you get also tempted. You feel, "Arey, I'm getting this. If I do more of this," and that's also how the algos are also sort of,
There's no end to it, right?
Exactly,
You have to put the line. You have to put a line
you
of
have to
how
draw a
much,
line
how much
where-
of your time
yeah.
you want to invest in this. So
especially if you're a solo founder, I think that's a hard line you've got to draw because there's so many other things that.
other thing you're doing the business.
Yeah, no.
I just wanna-
Otherwise the wheels will come off the business.
I just want to add one more point to this, right? And it's relevant to the question that you're having. How much is enough? It goes back to the first question. Listen, which of these is important? All of these are important, but some of them play a much larger role at a certain part of the journey of a brand,
Yeah.
which becomes more important. Similarly, how much content is enough? You might need 1,000,000 pieces of content, or you could do it with 5,000 or 50, depends again on what stage of the brand you are. What platform are you building it for? We have got partners who do 1,000,000 creatives in a month, and they run it in a single campaign. 1,000,000 pieces of creative.
Now with AI, I think that
It is
also
pretty
helps
possible.
solve. AI
Absolutely.
helps you solve for
I
that.
think I would
also.
draw that line, like as a founder, you think you want to invest 2 hours or 4 hours. I think everything should be around that, because that's the most expensive thing, right? And the most important investment is the founder's time at the end of the day. And as you scale, you're actually the head of HR, you're head of marketing, you're head of finance, right? I mean, you have to do
As you
everything.
scale, and there's
Exactly.
demarcation.
And Sid, you're right. I think the other piece is that the founder knows that next 1 hour spent on getting a better product formulation will give me better bang for the buck. Or is it that 1 hour of recording it? Now, the question is, how many people really structurally set and do that? And hence, the one operating theme that I want to leave everybody with is incrementality. How much with this extra hour, and there are measurement protocols that allow you to do that.
No, but sir, a company doing 50 lakhs a month, like I've been in that place. If I see sales and then I see something which is going to give me result 6 months later, 1 year, and maybe said you can add, I'm going to sales.
Right?
I'm
Of
going
course,
to
that
sales.
of course,
There's
sales
no-
is
I totally,
Especially if you're
I
a
say
funded
that-
startup. I mean, you
No,
know.
no, and also because like I'm not at that level of maturity to think, okay, if I spend 1 hour on R&D,
They'll give me
8 months
this,
later,
yeah.
I don't have the ability because
You have
I
to
can't
survive
keep the
today.
lights on.
Yeah, you have to survive
I totally
today.
agree. So what's the right way to do that? Go by the gut? Or is it that I set up, maybe I can't do it at 50 lakhs. Can I do it at a crore? Do I have a roadmap to think about it? Is measurement part of my thinking and construct? Or I go and see, listen, I can see how life goes on this one. The question is that
I
any
think it's
good
trial
founder,
and error. It's
it
going to
doesn't
be
need
trial.
to, Archana, today's world, it doesn't need to be.
No, but you see, in a founder's journey, it's not so binary. Because, like I said, there are so many things that could be going wrong or right. And you've got to figure everything out actually simultaneously, right? And which is why, like what also Arjun is saying and Sid is saying, is that you're in such a mess that you think that if I do more content, maybe that revenue line will really move or
Archana, I'll give you an anecdote. I'll give you an anecdote from one of the largest brands in the country.
हम तो छोटे ब्रांड की बात कर रहे हैं
मैं
ना
आपको largest brand ही बता.
हाँ बताइए
The largest brand in the country,
नाम ले लो
no, can't. But and I was the media partner on this one.
LinkedIn, we'll go through your LinkedIn
You know,
profile.
and the brand manager had only one, the largest media budget in the country by a mile. It's the size of the companies. So this gentleman always said, I don't have budget to do this. I don't have the time to understand this. They had at least 20 measurement partners who could help them get to that outcome. It is not to do with time. I would really recommend that all of us read a book by Alex Schultz called Click Here. Alex Schultz is CMO for Meta. Fascinating read. What it talks about is that are we thinking as a protocol, especially when you don't have money, is a time that you need to think about incrementality. When I had a lot of money to invest, I can take a punt. A crore here, or 2 crore there, 10 crores there doesn't make a difference.
No, Gaurav, see the early stage journey. See, early stage
I
journey
don't
is
have
not
time.
about
There's no time.
Yeah, and the other thing,
Lights
one
have to
second.
stay on.
No, one other thing is when you're doing the 0 to 1 journey, it is about a lot of experimentation. It will be about gut because that's what the founder early stage journey is. When you get to 100 crore ARR, let's say you raise another 100 crore on top of that ARR thing, you do have a lot more expertise, more people, more sort of stability to think. But early stage, if you don't do experimentation,
No, Archana.
then it's zero.
Okay.
See, I think
I don't know.
if
Sorry, I
Yeah,
just need
sure.
to answer this one because Archana's possibly I am not explaining myself really well. I'm not saying don't do experimentation. By experimentation means you need to also put what is experimentation? You do something, there's a certain outcome, you need to measure it. All I'm saying is that you measure that experiment.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, you should do experiment all the time. 10% of investment should be experiments. Would you not measure them? Is it today easy and cheap to measure? Yes. The question is,
I think it's yes and no because sometimes when you're doing a product category or you're trying to create a new market, there is no proxy for it, right? So there is going to be some amount of the founder call. Sid, what did you want to say?
So I think if you think that see, technically it should always, I'm sure founder-led content will always be like some part of the marketing that you do, right? But if you think that's the 100% part, that's the only thing that's working for the brand, maybe get another co-founder and let him handle the operations, to be
a
honest.
creator as a
If you get like a tech co-founder, he's only handling tech, maybe like one co-founder only handles content. So, I mean, there's no other way to do it.
The other way to do it is that what really to set up a measurement allows you to know that how critical is the founder to the campaign. And that's A/B testable.
No, it's very A/B testable, but the answer will always be that the founder will give you the higher ROAS. I mean, the founder will say at the early
Okay,
stage,
guys.
I need.
This one is very interesting.
अब मैं एक सवाल तो पूछती हूँ
इतना exciting है ये
एक
वाला।
तो इसी का सवाल है कि डू फाउंडर्स एंड अंडरस्टैंड न्यू एज मार्केटिंग, ये सवाल है, हम वही डिबेट कर रहे हैं। आप बताइए, आप बताइए, आप बताइए।
I'll answer. I want to really answer this from where Arjun left off. The answer will always be that founder-led content led to greater outcome. Is the assumption here? I'm not sure it's true in every case. It
If
depends
it's not
on
true, the founder won't do it.
not necessarily. He might do it out of belief, right? And we know
So
that.
we have to give our founders little bit of credit. वो ROAS तो देखते
अरे,
हैं.
I have tremendous respect for founders. As a matter of fact, we live off founders.
That means it's like saying
Founders not working, they are not going to spend the time in front of a camera.
it's like failed actors who started a startup and they just
let
want
me
to
finish.
in front of the camera.
क्यों ना?
Guys, let me finish. Let me finish. So, as far as founders is concerned, will there be upside of that founder being part of the creative? 100%, maybe in some of the cases. I don't know. I've not seen the data say yes every time the founder comes with the upside. If there is, what's the upside when you take it off? And that is that time that is saved worth that saving? Is the question. That's incrementality. As simple as that. It doesn't need, so let's say if the upside was 25%, but at 25% time, is it a co-founder, which means that you're diluting your equity? Is it okay to do that? Is it worth it?
But if that's the only thing that's
Yeah,
working, I
it's
don't
worth
know
it,
what
yeah.
else
Yeah,
you can do.
it's
Yeah,
not
it's
so
like what he's
theoretical.
saying about, yeah.
I mean, there's no single
Yeah.
rule book, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that
And
somebody
that's
can
why,
follow.
that's why
Same
that,
pace. There's no rule book, so experiment and measure. Is my takeaway.
भाई और बहनों, एक और सवाल पूछा मैंने कि do founders understand new age marketing?
Of course they do. I mean, that's why we're seeing today, like, I think the biggest wave is founders being out there, right? Being the own celebrity for the brand. I think that's been the biggest change that we've seen in marketing in the last decade, according to me. I think it was social media came, then there was a long decade of influencers. But I think founders
And
coming
celebrities.
and celebrities, of
Movie
course.
stars.
But today, I think that's changed the game, and I know so many founders who are doing that, and I think they've built brands around that, and maybe not spending 20 hours a week, but spending like 3-4 hours a week, and still making it really really effective, and people are resonating to that better than anything else. So I mean, that's my belief.
I think the other thing that's happened over the last decade, which has fascinated me and shows that founders have understood new age marketing, is that whoever you are, and we are people from this startup world, so we will support startups, we will wear startups, etc., all of that. But I'm looking outside of that, right, to the non-startup janta and seeing that in everybody's house, some D2C product has reached. They are carrying a Mokobara backpack, they have an Ogao plant that they are giving as a gift, they are using
Antinom and they are
using a
using
Fraggle perfume, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm saying that look at your life today, and everybody watching this conversation, look at your life today without you knowing. Some beauty personal care, some apparel, some Indian ethnic wear product has found its way into your home. That product was earlier legacy company's product. And so that shows that in this world of marketing, the founders have leveraged new age marketing, digital, maybe what's accessible to them to reach this customer and replace 1, 2, 3, 5 products in their life.
And
that's amazing.
And this is
Yeah,
not
that's
accidental, by the way. I think
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is not accidental. This has happened, I think, by pressure of the fact that founders at a slightly late stage realized अब पैसे नहीं है, influencer महंगे हो गए, celebrity महंगे हो गए, तो खुद बेचना पड़ेगा, right? You know that old belief, right? घर जाके
Yeah.
बेचो, that's the old
Yeah,
belief.
yeah.
So this is
You're the
technically
best
घर जाके
salesperson.
बेचो of new
Yeah,
age, right?
yeah.
So
That's a good analogy.
No, absolutely. I would just qualify some founders are the best in the world in terms of new age marketing. They're really
Which ones?
Many. I would say Arjun was one. Varun is fantastic. Sidhant is doing great job. They're a fantastic bunch of founders who get into details and can possibly write the playbooks of the future. But when you when you unpeel that onion, right, and understand what makes this founder really different, I would want to go back to that broken piano on that one and say that what makes it distinct is people who are very leaning in on measurement, on scientific approach to say input to output care. I'm spending X amount of hours on input. Is it leading to outcome? As simple as that. Does it take discipline to do that? Yes. So I would say not all founders are the same. Some can do a terrible job at it. My cousin's horrible at it. He's closed on 2 D2C brands over the last 3 years and great products, spent crores of rupees. Horrible. I know friends who have done multi-million dollar sellouts on brands that are made, and they're brilliant at it. They were brilliant in legacy companies. They're brilliant marketers as founders. Whole truth. Good. Shashank's a fantastic. He used to be a ASM in East Branch in where we used to go to market together. Done a fantastic job. Was he great marketer internally? 100%. So I wouldn't say that all founders are great, but some are fantastic, and I do believe they're writing.
No, on balance, I think if you were to look at it on balance, I think the bulk of Indian founders are, I think, getting new age marketing right. Of course, there are a lot of tweaks because it gets expensive at a certain point.
I think there's one important point he alluded to about state of development of market. See, I think when I started in 2016, I had 1 year to learn how to make a website, how to do performance marketing, how to do SEO. I had time, right? Today, there is a playbook and a scientific way to build a D2C brand. There is a way to structure marketing, etc. And you don't have the luxury of time. So if you say, hey, by the way, I don't understand how ROAS works, or I don't understand what a conversion-friendly website looks like, and my agency will do it for me, you will get taken for a ride.
Yeah.
There are specifics of this business that need to be understood. There are people who understand, there are people who don't. And if you don't take the effort to understand it, you're going to be taken for a ride. And there's going to be someone in a smaller town right next to you who understands who's going to beat you at it.
Yeah. So
like-
agencies.
And so many times, like actually so many startups come and say, क्या मुझे कोई एक ऐसी एजेंसी ढूंढ दो जो कंटेंट भी बना दे और मार्केटिंग भी कर दे. I said I've worked with 100+ agencies. There is no god out there.
And if it was that easy, then everybody would be doing it. No?
Agencies would become brands and they would launch brands
Exactly.
themselves.
You have to know every individual form of marketing and maybe get some help, external help. Agencies are great. I think we love in outsourcing, so we work with a lot of people to get some creative ideas. But that should only be the top layer of creativity. You should know what you're doing. So
I just want to add on, because agency word I thought I need to contribute. See, I think on this one again, there's a famous statement. It says that you get agency you deserve, and agency gets a client that they deserve. So it really depends. It starts with the brief.
Brutal, yaar. Matlab.
Yeah, because it starts with the brief. A great marketer would have a great agency. I can tell you 9 or 10 cases. Because you would also select right. You'll select for the reason you're selecting. To Sidhant's point, you can't have a one magic bullet agency. At the same time, can you create a one magic bullet partner? 100%. It all starts with the brief. So I agree with
So one belief that Indian founders are getting wrong in building consumer brands. I'll start with you.
I think one belief is that I think what I feel everybody is chasing कि यार अगर पैसे raise कर लिए तो that means I've done a good job and I've built a good brand, right? I think that belief needs to change, at least in the 0 to 1 journey. I feel money should be, of course, there's a little bit startup capital that is required, but majorly money should be used to accelerate a proven model, which I think most brands think कि नहीं पहले बहुत सारा पैसा चाहिए, फिर देखेंगे business बन रहा है कि नहीं बन रहा. So that is definitely one belief I think is already started changing. I'm talking about 2020, 2021, where there was too much money out in the market. That's why like all those funded startups are now today struggling because they never learned that 0 to 1 discipline of operating a business with zero money in the bank, right? I can say that as a bootstrap brand because I have seen a lot of those times where on the first of every month,
तुम्हारे keywords पे कोई और तुम्हारे keywords पे कोई और खेल रहा था.
Yeah. So
yeah, I'll sort of maybe completely agree with Sid. I was having a conversation yesterday with a good friend who's a veteran in the consumer space, and he said the worst thing you can do as a VC is overfeed a company with capital because overeating leads to indigestion. And he said constraints of capital really help, because actually our business in a consumer business is a P&L business, right? There is sales, gross margin, contribution margin, eventually EBITDA. It has to come at some point, right? So I was just thinking about examples after he said that. Plix, very successful story, didn't raise so much capital. Minimalist, very successful story, didn't raise so much capital. From our portfolio, we have a company called Cream Castle. We gave them 6.5 crores as a seed round in the company. They ended up doing some capex, opening some stores and burning a bit of money. And in less than a year, they were left with 1 crore. That was 14 months ago. The business was doing 1.6, 1.7 crores at that time. 14 months later, the business is doing 5.5 crores a month with 40 lakhs profit, zero money waste. That constraint made him think about the business. That's one. The other thing which is a misconception is, look, the market is very competitive today, right? Very, very competitive. But this market, if you get it right, is so large. If you pick a niche and you get it right, the market is the size of a European country in India, even a niche. And if you pick a big situation or a big market and you get it right, it's as big as Europe, the entire market, right? So even though there is competition, there are pockets where if you get it right, there are tens of millions, not like lakhs, tens of millions of customers that can be addressable market. And you can think much bigger. And I'm seeing founders now think 100 crore, what's a big deal? 100 crore, right? When I got to 100 crore, I was like, oh my God, I've achieved so much, I'm going to sell my company. But today those founders are thinking bigger.
Yeah. I totally second both the points. I love the point in constraint. I think constraint makes a lot of choices. It forces you to make choices, which makes you take the right choices in due course. The one piece that I would say is also feeding off the earlier part of the chat is that we in India we overall marketing tend to overestimate the impact of differentiation in what drives brands. So a lot of people chase differentiation many years, and it's replicable in
Differentiation in product or in brand?
differentiation in product, in brand, in multiple. This I'm not talking about distinctiveness. There's a slight difference between two, but differentiation mean that there's never been a product like this with two handles on a kettle, for example, something that nobody needed, but you spend so much money, time, effort in trying to be different in that category. Because 90% impact in most CPG, I'm sticking to CPG because that's the nature of this chat, or CPG, or for that matter, fashion or fast fashion, any of these. What makes a bigger impact is essentially getting your pricing right, which is the biggest driver meaningful. And the second piece that drives salience, which is essentially awareness. So it's overspending time on creating differentiation is taking away a lot of time for people to get into categories. And the brands that you took names of were known brands, the known categories. Biggest categories, vitamin C serums, for example. Every single brand sells the vitamin C serum. That's the single biggest category. So and so forth. There might be a breakout one serum on here for one brand somewhere, but that will again get replicated within a couple of weeks. So amount of time being spent on differentiation is something that brands can save and founders can save to put behind getting the product right, getting marketing right in terms of building awareness, and getting their media plans on Meta right. That should be 90% job.
What do they have to do that? Now that you've said
Advantageous
it,
campaigns, enough budgets, give it time. and
enough budgets. What is enough budget? Number batao.
अलग class है.
But to add to that differentiator, right? I think one more thing that we all as founders chase, and I realized very early in my in my journey, that we chase perfection, which does not exist, right? And we waste so much time, chasing that perfection. That's why, like today, it's my motto is that I rather choose speed over perfection. I rather launch a product which I think is 80% ready than to spend that additional 3 months, 6 months to reach that 100%.
Because
that
maybe you're
does not
wrong
exist.
also, na?
Yeah,
You
because
get
that,
100%,
exactly.
maybe you're wrong
Because
until
the
the
real feedback comes
Comes
from the
from the
market.
customer.
So I think that's something.
And that underlines what I was saying earlier. How much of that effort curve is good enough?
Yeah.
Exactly. I can get 100% perfect product, a perfect niche that I have a copyright to for next 100 years, but I might need to wait for 100 years, and my great grandchild might have it. I'll be dead like 30 years ago. It might be a great product. Doesn't matter. I mean, I agree with you, and that's true. By the way, that's my big learning from shifting from CPG to technology. It's about getting speed to market is much more critical, but
Starting is
you do have a bit fundamentals of
And
product.
it has shown it, right?
Yeah.
50 stores in a year is beast level execution, right? And there were many social networks before Facebook, many search platforms before Google. But high quality execution is what got these companies to where they are.
No, which is why, like, I am not always fussed about, how different is the product that we're investing in.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you don't want to spend that money educating the consumer, na? It has 20 handles to the kettle.
Today, because of, just imagine like when we are launching like 100 new designs every week this year. So just imagine the process and how much speed plays a big role. If I would try to perfect each and every process, that 100 was 10 like just 2.5 years back.
See,
So
this podcast is also very imperfect. We don't try for perfection here also. We
Which
are
is
like,
good.
Have you followed your questions?
Have I followed my question?
What was imperfect in that? What was
Of course I have. Some have.
what was
is
imperfect in it?
I mean,
you didn't
no,
let
we
me
could
tilt
have.
my chair also. Yes? You didn't let me tilt my chair.
Archana's about
That was
perfection.
it, yeah.
I was just saying,
I was watching Goodwill Hunting again after many years, and there's a very interesting dialogue that Robin Williams has about his wife, and he says something very, both of us, very imperfect individually, but we were perfect together. So I felt this couldn't have been a better chat. I just loved it. It was just fantastic.
So all of us imperfect human beings have created this perfect podcast on Startup Table with AJ.
No, but wait, we didn't get a chance to ask you questions.
Oh my goodness! See, Arjun, please next time Arjun को बुलाओगे तो अकेले बुलाना. I'll take a holiday. हाँ बोलो क्या
No,
सवाल है?
I wanted to ask you a question.
बोलो.
See, I think that there are lots of proposals that come to you as a VC investor, especially with a public presence. Your DM is flooded, people are writing to you. When you see a proposal for a company, and usually we're investing in categories that are well discovered, there are hundreds of brands. What jumps off the table for you in a company? Because your rate of meeting company to investing, at least for me, is 1%.
I think
Or
it's
less,
even
right?
less. It's
1%
even
or
less.
less. So, what allows you to make that 1% decision?
Gaurav's not going to like the answer. Look, ultimately, early stage investing is about the gut. It's about the human connect, And that human connect, of course, starts from whichever form that they find you. It could be a DM, it could be a phone call. I could have reached out to somebody. Somebody could have made that introduction. I mean, there are those standard ways that you meet somebody. It's what is that the person is trying to communicate at that time to you, the founder. It's not just about persistence, but I value persistence a lot. I think persistence can take you to places. But please, everybody listening out there, if I'm not responding, maybe, persistent may not be able
Try WhatsApp message next time.
Gaurav का number दे दूंगी मैं
And in
सबको.
the comments, I'll be sharing the address to this office. You can find Archana here on some days when she's not traveling.
So, no. But I think it's always about the founder, and it is a lot about, so to your thing about the input output, I think for a early stage VC, the input output is how many founders you meet, how many businesses you see, and how many businesses you've seen grow in your portfolio. So to some extent, you become your own AI sort of a thing. Of course, we all depend on data, information. We look at MISs, business plans, but ultimately, it has to be about what the founder is able to communicate to you. Ultimately, and founder is the best salesperson, whether they're fundraising or they're talking to the consumer.
Well said.
Yeah. So on that very profound note, I'm going to close this special edition of Startup Table with AJ. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you all of you for joining me. Please do subscribe and do watch. Do click on the thumbs up button, and of course patronize all the businesses, all the Meta for getting to
Ads.
the
Get to know people.
Libas, Dr. Vaidya's and V3, and of course Rukam Capital. Thank you all of you for joining me.